murders occurred, and it's up to us to see who the killer actually was. Hello!
Welcome to Bad at Board Games.
Well, he's bad at board games.
Yeah, he really is.
I'm Brad Lake.
I'm Toph Ferguson.
And I'm Mona Marzouk.
And we're bad at board games, so you don't have to be. Today, we're going to be talking about...
Hunt a Killer's Body on the Boardwalk.
It's a killer.
It is a killer. Well, there is a killer. It's kind of the purpose of it.
Stick around to the end, and we will let you know what we think about this retail game. Is it worth your money? Is it worth your time? We'll give you our BGG ratings and everything you need to know to make a decision for you.
So, Hunt a Killer's Body on the Boardwalk game is a murder mystery game where we are given a whole lot of evidence that makes absolutely no sense. It's just dropped in our laps with a couple letters saying, figure out who's the killer. And we are set off to be able to do that. And maybe we did it, maybe we did not. We are bad at board games after all. But this is an interactive game. If you've ever done a murder mystery party or if you've ever done an escape room, think along those lines of who done it. We got to figure it out. We got to decipher all the clues if we're able to do so. The game is designed by Casey Cheney and it is published by Hunt a Killer.
Yeah, we really liked it. The way things look, you know, it's kind of how you would expect it. Like, this is a theme park, and you got the theme park map that goes along with it, and you've got some newspaper clippings. You know, it's not a looker, right? Because it's not a board game. It's so much as it's giving you clues and conditions and things that you would have expected to find. Like, you know, we have Whelp. It's not Yelp.
And email.
Things like that. You got, oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, B-mail, Brad mail, not Gmail. I just wish I had the billions of dollars like they do.
But again, we are bad at board games, so
I get $1. So yeah, it's nice. I mean, it's what you would expect, and you know, this one actually came with a nice little lockbox. Had a puzzle to go along with that to get into that as well. So nice little components for the price.
And they actually look like what they're supposed to look like. Photographs look like photographs. They are photographs. Newspaper clippings actually look like newspaper clippings. So it does kind of have a feel like you are actually looking through real evidence. And it's good quality, too. I mean, this is pretty good quality. Yeah.
So what about the mechanics, Toph?
Yeah. So first and foremost, this is a puzzle. We've already mentioned that. This is kind of like that escape room feel where you are going through and you are deciphering what's going on. So it is a cooperative game. We are all working together to be able to figure out who done it. The deduction part of it, I think, is the biggest thing with these Hunt a Killer games. You have to figure out where to start and figure out where to end. You are given the basic guidelines that just says, figure out the opportunity, figure out the motive, figure out the means. That's all you got. After that, it's just stuff dumped in front of you, and you have to be able to decipher the clues and work through some puzzles to be able to figure out what's going on. So the big part of it, cooperative play, you're going through a lot of deductions into a puzzle-driven environment. Maybe not game, but environment.
Mm-hmm. And so kind of getting into our story, so they reached out to us and asked us to review this. They're not paying us for this game, but I looked into it. We don't review every game that somebody calls us about. I was interested in it. You know, and I talk about this board gamer snob thing. I have it. It exists. And so retail games, I really kind of have to be like, well, let me take a look at it. Let me look into it a little bit more. But, you know, this is a good family game. You know, I've been curious about these. And if you know me, when I'm curious about something, it doesn't necessarily mean I want to spend my money on it. So I was happy to like, hey, well, yeah, we'll try it out. I'm, you know, giving you my honest opinion. Do I like it or not? Then I wanted to make sure that my wife, Ara, and then her daughter, Mona, and Toph, you know, like we could do this as more of a group than just me and Toph kind of doing it. We could get more people involved. So that's kind of the story and how things set up. Mona, what was it when I told you we had this game? You know, what was your first reaction?
I was really confused because I didn't know what it was, but when you told me it was like a mystery game, I really enjoy escape rooms, so I was really excited. And then when you laid it all out, I was like, oh, this looks like it's going to be fun because it's like a bunch of clues, and it looked really well put together.
I was excited because she was excited to play the game. Yeah. And you know, like Brad said, this is a family game, and this is something that not just Brad and I wanted to review. And so when the game came in, it was immediately, hey, we're going to find a time where we can all get together to be able to play this game. At least Mona, because Mona said she wanted to. I thought Ara would be really good at it. I love puzzle games. I have a degree in mathematics for a reason. I kind of like that figuring out puzzle aspect of life in general. And so when all of a sudden everybody wanted to play, it wasn't just Brad and I, it was Brad's family wants to play as well. That drove me to want to play the game even more. I've seen it on the shelves of a local Target or big box stores. I've wanted to pick it up, and I'm glad we got the opportunity to sit down and play it. And it really was, I think, a fun time playing it. We kind of started off on a chaotic note, trying to figure out who's doing what, what's going on, and who's picking up what piece of paper, when, and where. But I think that's kind of the fun of these games. You know, escape rooms are the same thing, at least anytime I've done them. You get into a room and everybody goes one way and starts yelling all at one time. Not to say that everybody was yelling all at one time.
Except Ara.
Yeah.
But everyone was yelling all at one time. I don't know. I think this one might have had a little bit into that. And we also were kind of talking over each other. And
I don't know. I think it was Brad.
I like her. Permanent addition now to the Bad at Board Games table.
So, Mona, what were some of your pros about this game?
I really liked the clues. They were really nice, and I got a little keychain that I get to keep. I think it was really cool to have the story because it was all everything has the park name on it, and it was really fun to figure everything out because as I said, I really enjoy escape rooms and stuff, and this was basically an escape room at our house, and it was really fun to work with everyone.
You got they had gobbledygook. I think they called it a nonsense vocabulary in here, and you figured it out pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm really good at word clues, so I also like that there were the scrambled letters. I really liked that.
What about you, Toph? What were some of your positives?
I've got a handful of them. One thing that I like in these type of games is storytelling. I enjoy storytelling. I like some other card games and things that I've got, Gloom and some others, where there's not much to go on, but just a little bit of information on some cards or on some pieces. And we all immediately jumped into the storytelling aspect of this game. We immediately started our accusations of who we thought it was, and then we kind of gave them a backstory. And the clues help you do that. You need to do that. You need to find who has alibis, who doesn't have motive, who doesn't have the means to be able to do it. We all created that story, and that story continued to evolve as we went throughout the game. And that, I think, is an aspect of a well-designed game, because it felt, like you said, it felt like we were doing this escape room. It felt like we were creating this entire environment together as we were trying to decipher the clues. So it wasn't just reading off some things and being done with it. We had to figure everything out. And we really did, I think, give backstories to some of these people. Maybe we didn't have to do that, but we did.
And one of my positives is the rule. Learning the game is the easiest thing I've ever. It's almost like Uno, right? The rule book is really maybe one page, maybe two, if you really want to go through it. But it's, hey, start reading these things, and what you're looking for out of all the things that you have are the means, the motive, and the opportunity. So I think, and I'll get into one of my negatives about those three things, but that's it. Start reading. Once you start reading all this stuff that they give you, and then they say, there's hints into this to what the combination is for that, and there's more clues in that. So, they're already kind of setting you up with this one little escape room-ish thing, but that's the rule set. That's all you have to read to start going through this. So I was really happy that, you don't have to go through a whole lot of reading to then go and do more reading.
Yeah. And it gave a little bit of a hint that said, you don't necessarily have to figure everybody out, but you need to figure out who has the alibis or who is not able to actually do the murder. So they kind of set you off on a tone, if you've never dug through evidence for something, of this is what you need to do. And I thought that was really good. I think I come into this a little bit different perspective because in my day job, I adjudicate cases. And so I am digging through evidence like this that's chaotic on a regular basis. And I think that kind of was also a downfall of ours because all of us tried to do more than what we probably needed to do to be able to figure out who actually done it. But it was fun in that aspect. You know, this is a real life application feel to the game itself. And it's not a board game. It's an experience. So there's not a lot of rules to go along with it. It's just, here you go. Figure it out.
What was one of your favorite experiences?
I liked finding like the little hints and everything, and I really liked the Whelp review and that they like brought stuff into it, and finding out things based off of everything we had was really fun because like we would see something and wonder where it came from, and then later find out, and it would just all piece together really well.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I liked being able to like figure out that, oh, wait a minute, this is why the guy did it, because he was lying over here. And then you start putting all those breadcrumbs together and things like that. It was,
yeah. There were a couple big moments where we had a list of things that gave us a whole lot of clues in one time. And it really helped. Like you dug into the profiles that we had of people and you were like, wait a minute, I saw that. And you're flipping through papers and you're reading it off like, stop everybody, let's do this. And I think we all had some of those moments of stop, listen to this, let's do this. Or what does this mean? Or wait, I forgot who did this. So yeah, the clues were good.
and then you went through and did the whole like analysis of that one letter that was completely had to be adjusted and looked at and
Deciphered.
You went through and through the cipher and wrote it out so we knew what was going on.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. Well, just like you did with all the other clues. This one here saw something like a hidden message. Bam, done. She figured it out. I mean, it was like no time at all. She was like, I got it. Like Ara looked at this one thing and started writing things, and Mona grabbed it and was like, let me read it to you. Mensa, right here on our team. You're not bad at board games. Why are you in this channel?
So, what was one of your cons?
I don't know. I thought some of the clues were a little easy, but that could just be because I've done a lot of escape rooms and it's pretty easy for me to. I just feel like on the scale, since it was a medium, I feel like it could have been a little harder. That also could have just been because we were really into it and we were working really hard on it. But I don't know. I really enjoyed it.
How about you, Toph?
Well, I'll give one con that Ara had. And I think it kind of, I felt at least the con in it. And that's with one of the pieces of the game. And I don't think it was designed this way, but there's a lock box that's in the game with an actual lock. And it's actually a lock-ish. And I picked it up. And as soon as I went to touch the lock to try a code in it, it was completely unlocked. Like we immediately realized without moving it that the lock was unlocked. And so that kind of took away a little bit. And so all of a sudden we were like, okay, let's lock it up. So we locked it and we twisted all the things and then it was locked. Then we had to go back and play it. But it was immediately like, I touched it and, oh, look, I did it. I solved it. It worked. Here we go. So that's a con. Definitely something that Ara mentioned and I think makes perfect sense. So if you get this, check it. To make sure
it's locked really.
Yeah.
Then if it's not, push it and twist
around a little bit. Yeah. So that's definitely a con. And it's, I think maybe there could have been, I don't know, there could have been more with some of the clues. And I think maybe I was expecting it to be a little bit more difficult. So if you had more stuff in there, maybe it would throw you a little bit more. But at the same time, we overanalyzed this thing to here and there and spent way more time than the box said for the game itself. So that's kind of a con.
Yeah, I would say the con, well, and I don't know if it's a con or not. It does say 45 to 60 minutes. It is not. If you're going to guess and then open it up to see if you succeeded or not, you don't get to go back. So, I wouldn't ever say this is a 45 to 60 minute game. So, but as the experience, I never felt like I'm ready for this to be over either. So the con is that as with most games, they're about half on the box what they really are in real life, right? So that's a con. And then do you have another con that you want to talk about or?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I was a little thrown off because typically in games like this, you would expect there to be like a red herring as to who it is, but it felt like everything was pointing to one person since the beginning, and we still weren't sure if it was that person, so we just kept searching, which is why it took us as long as it did.
Yeah, that's my biggest one, is that there were some clues that were very good, and immediately, I'd say within probably the first 15 minutes of the game, we suspected somebody. And we kept that suspicion because everything else continued to point to that person. Like we knew from the beginning who it was. Now, as Brad said, you don't want to guess and then look because the game's done. But I think that's where we overanalyzed it. We went back through all the evidence over and over and over again, saying we must have missed something because this was.
Well, but I don't know 15 minutes.
My mom definitely knew. She was like, in the beginning, she was like, I think it's this person.
That was pretty early
but
on.
then we had to find a lot.
There was a lot to find out. Yeah. But it was a guess in the beginning.
Yeah,
but there
it was
were
like,
some.
well, this person has the opportunity to do this or something. But you had to go. We hadn't investigated anybody else beyond that yet. So.
No, but the evidence was about as clear as possible for a good guess. Let's say a good guess. Maybe not a complete accusation, but a good guess. So.
I would say the one thing, the con. So they want you to have means, motive, and I'm looking at the paper, opportunity, right? So in one of the things, because you grow up playing Clue, right? And you're looking for this person in this room with the weapon. And I think we might have taken it, and maybe it's just the way that the description's written a bit. We kind of were taking it as we needed to find the murder weapon. And that's not necessarily what the game is. It's like, you're just basically saying like, did this person have the motive? Did they have the opportunity, really? So it's only kind of two things, because they tell you how the person dies. You're not trying to determine or find the murder weapon. I think that would have been kind of cool, but I don't know how you would have done this in that kind of game, right? But that's how we were taking it, because I think you get inundated and indoctrinated into Clue, where you want to find the murder weapon. So we were also looking around to try to find, did somebody see this person with this weapon walking away, in the night, or that, dumped a weapon and somebody found it, something like that. But, so that's the con this is the first time we've played one of these games. We would probably be willing to take a little bit more of a guess sooner, rather than later, but
that's the one thing that we kept going over and over and over the evidence for was, okay, we know who did it, or we think we know who did it. They have the means, they have the opportunity, or they have the motive, they have the opportunity, but how are they connected to the weapon? And so we went through everything over and over again, trying to find any weapon that there was, because we ruled out some things, but then it was like, well, where is it? And
there was kind of something, we just didn't really notice it until after it was done. Like, there was one thing that kind of showed the means, but we didn't really think about it like that.
Yeah.
I do want to say one more pro, and I think this is the biggest one. This is something you can play with your family, right? This was interesting enough that my wife wasn't like, oh, I got to learn another game. Are you kidding me? And Mona being like, oh, I want to play that. Like, people wanting to come and sit down with you which is the whole point about getting board games together, right? Like, to me, that's the biggest thing with this game, is you literally could get a group of people together and that want to come together instead of forcing them to come together. So if you don't have board gamers and you're trying to bring them to a table to have an experience, this was definitely right there.
This could easily be a game that you pull out on New Year's Eve, or on another holiday with family or with friends or birthday parties. I think you want to pull it out with friends. I think you've talked about getting other games to be able to play with friends. But do keep in mind, it's a one and done. So once you've played it, you're not going to go back and play it again. Now, if you don't write on everything and do things like that, you might be able to pass it along to another friend to play. But for you, it's a one and done. You're going to play it once, and then you're not going to be able to play it again.
Anything else, Mona?
I really liked it. I definitely do want to get it to play with my friends, because I just really liked solving it, and I think we did a good job all together, but we were trying to, all of us were trying to do something at the same time, and it kind of did we kind of clashed a bit.
You find your groove. It takes a little while, but at the beginning you are going to have a bit of who's leading or who's willing to listen, right? People listening is going to be an important part to this game. So, Toph, what is the weight? So, BGG gives us weight ratings for board games, board game adjacent.
Mhm.
What are we talking about?
So this is listed on BGG. However, it does not have a weight rating on BGG. So I'm not going to be able to say what BGG is saying what it is, but Hunt a Killer actually put the weight rating on their box. Now, is this the same scale that BGG uses? I have no idea. But they list it as a medium weight game, and they list it a 2 out of 5 in difficulty. So just like BGG gives you a 1 to 5 rating on difficulty, this is also going to be the same. So they're putting it at a 2 out of 5. They did use the word medium weight on it. I don't know if yes, it is medium weight, but I would not put it at a 3 at all. I do think maybe it's getting closer to a 2. So sure, if we're rounding, I'm going to give it a 2. But BGG, obviously, you would see it as, I think, like a 1.75, maybe in terms of difficulty. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I don't think it's not overly terrible. You just have to be old enough to read.
Yeah.
A 5-year-old's not going to want to do this.
Yeah, I think Mona said it earlier that she was expecting some of the clues to be more difficult. And I was too. I was expecting, I saw one of the clues and it looked like it was going to be a big cipher to be able to work through. And it was relatively apparent almost immediately what you had to do in order to be able to decipher the clues. And so I just sat down and did it. And like I mentioned, Mona here, anytime there was a clue outside of that, you handed it to her and she immediately had it done. So that kind of is playing in my head to bring it down. But there is so much to decipher through other things that's going to bring that complexity up a little bit. So.
So we're going to talk about our value rating. And even though I know they gave us this game, and I still do value ratings. So if it was $25 at retail, if this was a, let's say, $5 game, I would rate this a 5 out of 5 for value in the experience because it's a one-shot experience. If this were $100, I would say this value is a 1 out of 5 for the number of times you get to play it and the number of hours that you go through. So based on this, if I were to have bought this for $25, I would give this like a 4 out of 5, maybe even a 4.5. I think it's for a $25 experience, it's still less than taking 4 people to the movies. And normally I value things on how many times you're going to get to play the game. Well, this is once, right? So it's a $25 experience. Guess I'm giving it a bit of a break that, if I were going to take my family and go eat, or if I'm going to take my family and go do something for 2 to 3 hours, it would have cost me more than that every time I turn around, right? So, it's in that 4 to 4.5 range for value. Would you guys agree?
I give it a 5 probably.
Yeah. So you really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she wants another one, right? And she wants her friends to get together and play the game.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Mona. 4.5 I could see, 5 I see as well. We had 4 people playing it. So if you think about that, it's $7.50 a person for what took us a little over 2 hours to be able to sit down and play through experience. And you're not going to get that type of value per player necessarily doing pretty much anything else. So yeah, it's a one and done game, but at the same time, especially if you have more people playing, it plays 1+. So I guess you could sit down with a whole lot of people. Don't do that. You can sit down with a whole lot of people and it brings that value a little bit different. I think this is one time where, Brad, that rating that you give has to be different because it's by player as opposed to.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying. It's just one time. It's and I'm kind of comparing it to like going to dinner or everybody going to a movie. It has in that realm very high value. So, what is your BGG? We'll let Mona go last because she's the most important one here. What's your BGG rating, Toph?
I am giving this. I'm going to give it a 7.5. Somewhere between a 7 and a 7.5. I think I'll give 7.5 because solely on the BGG rating, an 8 is really where you get to referring other people to the game or saying, I think you should play this game. I think it's a lot of fun. It is a fun game. I would love to play more of the series. I'm not going to always gravitate to this because I do like good old Euro games and figuring things out and then playing it again to beat my score, each time. But I'm going to say somewhere around a 7.5.
And I would say I'm a solid 7. I liked it. If Mona gets the next game and she wants me to play, I'm going to play it again. So and to me, that's what a 7 is. It's a solid. Somebody wants me to play this game, I will sit down and play this game with them. No questions asked. It's, if it's kind of like, no, I drop it down to a 6 and a 5. But I'm at a solid 7 for this. So, Mona, what do you think?
I give it an 8 because obviously it makes sense that you would only play this one time. I just do wish that you could play it more times because it's just like you do it and you're done. So I think it deserves an 8 though because I will be telling my friends to play this with me and Brad.
To play it more. And if Hunter Killer wants to give us more games, she'll be very happy to try them.
I would be.
I just want to point out, did you see how much excitement she said when she was like, I want to play this with my friends and Brad? You really, Mona needs to be on this channel.
I get no respect. I'm the Rodney Dangerfield of board games. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. We enjoyed making this. We enjoyed playing this. Thank you, Hunter Killer, for sending this to us. And just remember, no matter how you play, whether you're playing solo, with family, or friends,
enjoy whatever games or mysteries you're bringing to the table.
Bye. Have a great night.